So here we have Mira Mehta, who's the CEO and founder of Tomato Jaws. So Mira, why don't you give us a brief of your educational background and your career?
I grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the US. I went to school, undergraduate school at Brown University, where I got a degree in public health, so sort of like epidemiology. Then I worked in finance for 2 years. I worked at Blackrock, which is an asset management company, before I moved to Nigeria. And in Nigeria, I worked for a nonprofit, the Clinton Foundation, doing HIV and AIDS work. I then came back to the US in 2012 and went to Harvard Business School. And after business school, I launched my company, Tomato Jaws.
So what advice would you give students who are thinking of working in the social sector?
I think one thing that is important to know is that a lot of the social organizations don't have the same level of training ability as some of the larger for-profit companies. One thing that was really beneficial for me was that even though finance wasn't my passion, I worked there for a few years and it gave me a solid foundation in just general professional work, how to do Excel, how to use PowerPoint. I got a lot of training from a larger company that I think was really valuable. And I think if you want to do socially minded work, coming in with some kind of a hard skill is still really valuable to the organization.
Okay, so what skill sets do you think a person requires to be successful in the social sector?
So, of course, definitely you have to be empathetic. You have to care about, whatever the issues are that you're trying to tackle. I think being passionate about those issues is really important. But I think that in addition to that, depending on what the organization is and what their goals are, being able to learn quickly, being able to, understand what the mechanisms of change are. Usually for a social organization, you're trying to make some kind of a positive change. So really being curious, really trying to understand what is the baseline about the population of people or the environment or whatever it is that I'm trying to make a change in. How do I, what assumptions am I making about the change that I'm trying to make, and learning how to question yourself and question your own assumptions so that you don't come in with a solution that ends up causing more problems. So I think really being curious, asking a lot of questions, those kinds of things are very helpful.
Okay, great. So what does your company Tomato Jaws exactly do?
That's a great question. We farm tomatoes in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria, and then we also work with smallholder farmers, so farmers that have less than 1 hectare of land, and we help them to become commercial growers for us. We then take those tomatoes and we process them into tomato paste, which we sell in the local market. Nigeria has a $500 million tomato paste market, so it's a very, very large market, and all of the tomato paste is imported currently from China. So we want to be the first domestic producer and bring some of the value addition and some of the profits that go along with that into Nigeria rather than having them be in China.
So I think what Tomato Jaws is doing is quite helpful to people in Nigeria. So thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you too. Have a good day.